Beloved soul, be still. Something in the unseen has been pulling at you all day, and you've tried to ignore it, but your spirit wouldn't let you. That tug you felt when you saw the words only 1% of chosen ones will receive billions. Wasn't curiosity. It was recognition. It was heaven whispering, tonight is your turn. You've carried the weight of lack for so long that even your prayers have become quieter. You've stretched every dollar. You've smiled through financial storms so your family wouldn't see the fear behind your eyes. And still, somewhere deep inside, a small flame kept burning, waiting for a night like this. Listen closely. Something holy is unfolding over your life. A door in the spiritual realm is cracking open, one reserved for the few, the rare, the appointed, the 1% of chosen vessels called not just to survive, but to steward abundance, generational wealth, and a breakthrough season unlike anything your bloodline has ever seen. You feel it, don't you? That subtle rise in your chest, that whisper that says, this is for me. You're not imagining it. You've stepped into a Kairos moment, a divine appointment written long before you struggled, long before the debt, long before the disappointments that made you question your worth. Behold, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs forth. Isaiah 43-19. This new thing isn't symbolic. It's financial. It's spiritual. It's destiny level. Tonight, heaven is marking you as one of the 1%, not by luck, but by lineage. But before I reveal why the gates of wealth are opening, before I explain why something breaks loose tonight, stay with me. What's coming next is the part most people never hear. The part that separates those who watch miracles from those who walk in them. Chosen one. If this resonates already, pause for a moment. Breathe. Your season is turning faster than you think. Because, chosen one, once you sense a shift like that, it means something underneath your life has already begun to move. And yet, this is where the real story begins, not in a promise, but in the pressure you've been carrying alone. One you've been fighting a battle no one around you even recognizes. They see your strength. They see your survival. But they don't see the nights when your chest grows tight. Because you're running numbers in your head, praying they'll stretch just one more week. They don't see how your smile drops the moment the door closes, how you sit on the edge of your bed, staring at nothing, wondering why your breakthrough keeps slipping through your fingers. You said nothing, but heaven heard everything, especially the thoughts you tried to bury. There's a fear that rises in you around midnight, quiet, cold, familiar. The fear that maybe you're behind in life, that maybe you missed something, that maybe wealth, abundance, and financial stability were assigned to others, not to you. You've watched people with half your integrity walk into opportunities you prayed for. You've watched doors open for people who never carried the spiritual warfare you've endured. And somewhere in your spirit, a question formed that you didn't dare say out loud. God, did you forget me? Too, but the truth is deeper. You haven't just faced lack, you've faced blockage, invisible resistance, delays that made no sense. Every time you got close to a breakthrough, something slipped, cracked, or collapsed at the last second. It wasn't just bad timing. It wasn't just life. It was warfare over your destiny, And you felt it, didn't you? The strange heaviness that hits right when things start improving. The unexpected bills that show up out of nowhere. The sudden arguments that shake your peace on the exact day you decide to step into purpose. Listen, this wasn't coincidence. It was interference. You've been marked for divine reversal. But before reversal comes opposition. The enemy doesn't fight people who pose no threat. He fights the ones heaven has chosen to handle abundance, the ones destined to break generational cycles of scarcity, silence, and survival. And chosen one, this is why you've been targeted. 3. You carry a wealth mindset your family never taught you to have. You carry a grace for elevation you never asked for. You carry a blueprint, a heavenly blueprint for generational wealth. That frightens the darkness around you. But because of that calling, you've also carried wounds that almost convinced you to shrink. The betrayal that came from someone you trusted with your dreams. The friend who cheered for you publicly but secretly feared your rise. The relative who told you to be realistic, not knowing their words stabbed deeper than they realized. The partner who mistook your purpose for a threat. These moments didn't just hurt your feelings, they created cracks in your confidence. Cracks the enemy tried to widen. Cracks that made you question your worthiness, your timing, even your identity. You started to dim your light. You started to play small. You stopped expecting the miraculous because expecting started to feel dangerous. And yet, your spirit never stopped pulling you forward even when your mind was tired, even when your finances were tight, even when your heart carried disappointment like a quiet weight. That tension you've been feeling between who you are and who you're becoming is the sign that your old season is collapsing, the sign that delay has reached its expiration, the sign that the gates of abundance are cracking open specifically for you. But here's the part almost no one understands. Your blessing didn't delay because you were unworthy. It delayed because heaven refused to release billions into hands still bleeding from old battles. And beloved, you've been healing more than you realized. You've been shedding old beliefs about money, worth, and possibility. You've been learning to trust timing instead of forcing outcomes. You've been unlearning generational patterns of fear and survival. You've been stepping quietly into the version of yourself who can handle overflow. Because the 1% of chosen ones aren't chosen. Because they're perfect, they're chosen. Because they endured pressure that would have crushed others. You endured it. You're still here. You're still moving, even if it's slow. You're still dreaming, even if it scares you. You're still believing, even if your faith is bruised. And that is why heaven is ready to move, not because you begged for breakthrough, but because you became the vessel who can carry it. But before the wealth comes, before the reversal unfolds, there is a deeper truth you must face, a truth about why your finances were fought so fiercely, why your destiny was delayed, why heaven waited until tonight to say, asterisk, it's your turn. Asterisk 5, because what blocked you wasn't just circumstance. It wasn't just timing. It wasn't just life being unfair. It was something older, something hidden, something that has been standing at the threshold of your blessings for years, a force that knew. If you ever stepped into your true identity, if you ever walked in the fullness of divine abundance, if you ever tasted what God ordained for you, you would never be the same. And neither would anyone connected to you. And that force, that presence, that ancient resistance is the very thing heaven is confronting right now. Even as you read these words, even as something in your spirit stirs with the memory of every unfinished dream, every financial crumble, every near breakthrough that slipped through your hands, what stood against you is beginning to break apart under the weight of heaven's intervention. 6. Because chosen one, what resisted you was woven into places you never expected, the places closest to your heart. You've carried the strange ache of being the black sheep long before you had language for it. Even as a child, you felt slightly out of rhythm with the rest of your family, not rebellious, not difficult, just different. You saw deeper. You felt more. You sensed tension in rooms where everyone else claimed things were fine. And instead of being celebrated for your discernment, you were labeled dramatic, sensitive, or too much. That label followed you into adulthood like a shadow stitched to your heels, family gatherings, where you sat quietly at the edge of the room because you didn't have the energy to pretend. Moments where you opened your mouth to explain your dreams and watched them dismiss your purpose with a chuckle and a shrug. Nights when you walked away from conversations, replaying every word, wondering why the people who should have known you best understood you the least. The pain wasn't just rejection, it was displacement. A sense that you were born into a tribe that could not recognize your calling. And this isolation, this emotional distance, carved something silent inside you. It taught you to question your worth, your voice, your future. It made you wonder if maybe you were the problem, if maybe God should have chosen someone else for this mantle, this destiny alignment, this weight of divine purpose. But you weren't the problem. Your calling simply outgrew the environment you were planted in. And if your spirit is nodding right now, if you feel that sting in your chest because this is the wound you never speak of, pause for a moment and let your soul acknowledge it. Then, if you feel led, whisper into the comments, *I rise from rejection. Let that declaration seal what heaven is stirring in you. Because the wound didn't stop with family, it carried into the world beyond your home, slipping into your friendships, your partnerships, your daily life. And that's where the warfare took a different shape, a deeper one, a darker one. Because the enemy realized isolation alone couldn't stop a chosen one like you. So it attacked your body. The fatigue that hits out of nowhere. The heaviness in your limbs like you're moving through thick water. The pressure on your chest, not panic, not sadness, just weight. The sudden headaches behind your eyes, the kind that make light feel too loud. The hypersensitivity to crowds, to noise, to energy that disturbs your peace without explanation. You thought you were just tired. You thought maybe you weren't eating well or sleeping right or managing stress properly. But this wasn't lifestyle. This wasn't health. This was spiritual warfare manifesting physically. Your body became the battleground because the enemy couldn't silence your spirit. Your strength was under attack because your breakthrough timing was drawing near. Your energy was drained because your purpose required clarity. To the enemy feared you would finally step into it. You have to understand, when a chosen one carries a destiny that will crack generational curses and root entire bloodlines toward abundance, the opposition intensifies. Every ache, every wave of exhaustion, every strange heaviness, it wasn't random. It was resistance. And the battle became even more obvious in those nights you couldn't sleep. The 2 a.m. awakenings. The 3:11 a.m. jolts. The dreams that felt like warnings. The shadows that made your spirit alert while your mind was still trying to wake up. You weren't just restless, you were being summoned. Your spirit was being fortified. Your body was being recalibrated for the wealth, the power, the divine reversal heaven intended to release into your hands. Yet the more you pushed forward, the heavier it became. The more you tried to step into purpose, the more your body said, * not yet. Hold on. * the more you aligned with your calling, the more the fatigue tried to paralyze you. And deep down, you wondered, * why does elevation feel like exhaustion? Why does destiny feel like weight? Why is my body breaking down at the exact moment God is telling me to rise? Because, chosen one, when heaven prepares you for abundance, the enemy attacks your vessel. When heaven prepares you for visibility, the enemy tries to weaken your foundation. When heaven prepares you to carry generational wealth, the enemy tries to convince you your body can't hold the blessing. But even in your exhaustion, even in the days when you felt hollowed out and used up, you kept going, slow maybe, but steady. Quiet maybe, but obedient. Wounded maybe, but willing. And that willingness is what frightened the darkness most. Because a willing chosen one cannot be stopped, not by fatigue, not by isolation, not by misunderstanding, not by spiritual heaviness. For yet there is still another layer, a deeper truth beneath the weariness. A pattern in your life that has quietly revealed the identity of the enemy you've been fighting, without even knowing it. A force that has tracked you since childhood, shaping losses, blocking finances, disrupting harmony, and twisting every moment of peace into an unseen battle that now, finally, heaven is ready to expose. Because what you've been facing is not just hardship, it's the signature of something older than. Your memory. Something that has been waiting for the moment. You would finally notice its fingerprints on your life. Something that begins to reveal itself in the strange way your blessings always seem to fall apart the moment you reach for them, like something is snatching them from your hands at the final second. You've lived through this pattern more times than you can count. The cruel rhythm of asterisk almost asterisk stable, asterisk almost asterisk secure, asterisk almost asterisk blessed, asterisk almost asterisk chosen. And this is where the deeper wound begins to reveal itself. Because, chosen one, there's a pain most people will never understand unless they've lived it. The pain of the near miss. You know exactly what I mean. That job you were promised right until the email never came. That opportunity that was yours until someone else suddenly jumped ahead. That unexpected bill arriving on the very day you finally saved enough to breathe. That moment in your spirit when you said, asterisk, this is it. Asterisk, only for the rug to be yanked from beneath your feet in a way so precise, so timed, so targeted that it felt orchestrated. And it was. This pattern didn't just bruise your confidence, it carved a fear inside you. A fear that whispers every time blessings approach. Asterisk, don't expect too much. It won't last. Asterisk, you feel it physically. A tightening behind the ribs, a sinking in the stomach. A sudden heaviness in the shoulders, like your body is bracing for disappointment before your mind even realizes it. This is what long-term spiritual warfare does to a chosen vessel. It conditions them to flinch at the sight of hope. There were moments you sat alone after another setback, staring at a wall, asking in a voice barely above a whisper, asterisk, why does this always happen right when I'm about to rise? Asterisk, and your spirit, faithful and bruised, kept answering in silence. Asterisk, something is working against you, but something in heaven is fighting for you even harder. Asterisk, if this is hitting a buried place inside you, pause here. Let your soul breathe. And if you feel led, comment the phrase, asterisk, my blessing will not slip again. Asterisk, let that declaration mark the end of the old cycle. 3. Because the truth is, this pattern didn't stop at opportunities, it stretched into something even more sacred. It reached into your calling. And here's where the second wound reveals itself. The burden of discernment you never asked for. You've always seen through people too clearly. You catch the shift in someone's tone before they even realize they've shifted. You feel dishonesty in your body, your stomach tenses, your breathing sharpens. You sense hidden motives behind polite smiles, agendas tucked beneath flattering words. But here's the tragedy. When you tried to speak on it, people called you paranoid. When you pulled back, they said you were overreacting. When you trusted your intuition, you were accused of being judgmental or cold. So you learned to stay silent, to swallow what your spirit saw, to carry insights alone because no one around you had the spiritual capacity to understand what you were picking up. That silence became its own weight, a quiet ache behind your sternum, a buzzing at the back of your mind, a loneliness that has nothing to do with being physically alone. Because chosen ones rarely suffer from ignorance, they suffer from knowing too much and having no safe place to say it.